Nice hat. Come closer so I can hit it.
I prefer it cold. I worked in a 500-degree, ran in a 500-degree oven.
What?
Get up here!
I'm here! What more do you want from me? Look, I get up in the morning, I put on a shirt. What do you want from me?
I want to hit you with a stick. That's what these guys want.
They do not.
No!
They're on my side.
Yeah!
You know why? I taught them how to tie a tie. Great. We drive all the way to Arkansas to teach people how to dress. Clearly, right? Fashion icon.
You're beautiful.
You're the one that last time.
Please don't start. If they start up the I'm Too Sexy song, he'll dance. And it'll be bad.
I am beautiful in my own way. My mother said so. Right before she moved and never left a forwarding address.
Oh, that's just sad.
You know the really sad thing is that actually happened to a freshman in college when I was in school in Texas. There was a restaurant manager and we had a new kid who was a dishwasher. He was from Fort Worth, Texas. He'd never been away from home before. And so for November, Thanksgiving, we put him on a bus to go home to his family. And that was on Wednesday. On Thursday night, Thanksgiving, he called me and said, "Can you pick me up from the bus station?" I'm like, "Dude, we just put you on the bus yesterday. What are you doing back?" He said, "Just come get me." So we went and picked him up. He rode the bus to Fort Worth, got off the bus, and nobody picked him up at the bus station. So he hitchhiked to his house, got there, lights were off. He put his key in the lock, and it didn't work. So he rang the doorbell. Lights came on. Some lady he had never met before came to the door and said, "Who are you and what are you doing?" His parents moved while he was at school and didn't tell him where they moved to. And he went home for Thanksgiving and no one was there. So he traded his tickets and came back. And at Christmas break, once he found out where his parents were, he moved back home. And as far as I know, 25 years later, he still hasn't left the house. Because he's afraid they'll move again. See, I tried that strategy with my kids. They found me 3 times. Tried that a couple times with my wife, and she finds me too.
You just have a natural presence around people.
Right, that's what it is. It has nothing to do with the fact I don't bathe, and it's easy to follow the sun.
No.
Don't make cracks about your owner, but...
Hey.
What?
What?
I hit him.
Who are we hitting?
All of them.
If they're on your side, yes, you can hit them.
That's just mean.
I think I could take the entire room except for her. Speaking of which, talk!
I'm not good at talking, though. I'm good at clubbing.
You're not good at that either. Get back up in the middle. Every time we go clubbing, she gets kicked out of the nightclub.
You're just boring. So, this is going to be a stage show on the gentlemanly arts of self-defense. Mycroft is going to take us through several different stages of Baritsu, which he will explain in just a moment when he comes back. Till then, we can't can with sticks. That won't work.
I can.
No, you can? Deadpool does the can. Oh god, that'll be worse than the Open Gundam style Deadpool dance. I was sharing with them, we were at a convention up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, called Metacon a couple months ago, and it was right when Open Gundam style first just went crazy and everybody was doing the dance and stuff. There were 3 Deadpools dressed identically, and they spent all weekend of the convention, once they met each other, working on the dance. For closing ceremonies, they did the entire thing. They even mimicked the elevator scene, which was very traumatizing. And they managed, because main stage there, I could touch, which made it really funny whenever he came on main stage.
Hey,
they
I
broke
made it
out
through
the
that
lights.
entire panel without hitting the fan with any of the weapons at all. We had the naginata, the Japanese polearm. It's basically a 7-foot sword on a stick. Yeah. And I'm showing that and going through the whole thing crouched over like this. But I made it through the whole panel without hitting the weapon. And we got done. It was question and answer time, and I talked with my hands. And somebody asked me a question. I said, well, you see, and stuck my hand in the ceiling fan. It's not so bad that it hit my hand once. It's that I went, hey, and looked. So it hit me 3 times before I was smart enough to move.
And it was on slow.
It's not the only thing in my life set on slow. Hi, sweetheart. I was talking about our helper.
Yeah, sure.
Miss Scarlett. She's slow, but she's easy. I mean... And you wonder why I want to start the show sitting out there.
Yeah.
You're only digging your grave deeper.
What?
You're only digging your grave deeper now.
I am digging a deep hole, but this is why I'm 6'7". In Iowa, they stack it really deep. But also this way, when I dig that hole to step into, I can still breathe. The only problem is when I get in deep enough that only my head's showing, my wife plays whack-a-mole. She makes up for what she lacks in talent with enthusiasm. Oh, right, with whack-a-mole too.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand over here now.
I thought you were going with the story of taking out the wall at our martial arts school.
No. That was on purpose. That was actually okay. We put her in charge. We expanded at our dojo because the city newspaper, for some reason, didn't think they were safe on the other side of our martial arts school. So they moved and we got to tear the wall out. And I promised any of my students if they come help, we'd do an entire case of cutting mats and let them cut. The only thing they had to do was they had to let her use the sledgehammer.
Well, we gave all these big burly guys sledgehammers and they're going tink, tink, tink. I'm like, take the wall out!
City kids. She knocked the entire wall down. And it was put up correctly. It was framed with the two, and
you hit the right 2x4, it rips out of the ceiling and the floor, and the whole thing goes over. It's cool. Physics. Not so much for the people that were standing on the other side.
But that's the fun part. I did too.
You guys rode the same short bus, didn't you?
Yay!
No, I rode the long bus.
That's what your mother told you.
Well, somebody had to lick the windows on the long bus too.
Right, so...
They gotta get clean somehow.
They refused to feed me.
Especially after midnight, I know, and don't get it wet either.
Yes.
You actually got that reference? That's like an 80s movie from nowhere.
Who
What?
said that? That movie ruined my childhood. Go Gremlins.
As long as you have something to blame. Gremlins did not ruin my childhood, but the sequel did.
Yep, the sequel was just terrible.
And I watched it though because I was a teenager and Phoebe Cates was in that.
I was 7 years old.
Best Rambo parody ever.
That's still old enough to appreciate Phoebe Cates in the 80s.
Yes, it was.
You know why they're laughing? Because she's remembering Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And Phoebe Cates coming out of the swimming pool.
Yep.
I'm gonna need a moment. You guys come on.
Remember that forever.
Get on with it.
I do that all the time. I thought women were supposed to like foreplay. There's a difference between foreplay and stalling, though, isn't there?
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Welcome to A2F.
Yeah!
You guys just figured out where you are, didn't you? We're where? Oh my God! Hi. This is so I don't get too out of line. She's gonna whack me with a stick too. Brat.
Sorry.
What did you say,
Charlie Brown.
Her chest is talking to me.
Sure, we'll go with that.
It's okay, hers rings. I never understood women putting things that...
It's the bra pocket.
Guys, any of you put your cell phone in your underwear? No! Don't raise your hand! There is one guy going, hey, can you pick up my phone when it rings? And everybody in the room going, no. Ew.
Girls have to have their hammer spaces.
What?
You have to have a hammer space.
Do you know what a hammer space is?
Of course I don't know what a hammer space is. I'm not Thor. All I know is if I had that hammer and no one else could pick it up, my belongings would be safe for once. Because I'm married. You know what that means? It means what's mine is hers and what's hers is hers. If I were Thor, that'd be different. My hammer. She'd still find a way to hit me with it. So, speaking of hitting me, that's what this show is not supposed to be about. I'm Professor Mycroft. It is my privilege and honor to teach you today a brief introduction. I'm going to give you a brief introduction in the gentlemanly arts of self-defense, because when you have as big a mouth as I do and run as slowly as I do, you have to learn how to defend yourself. And in Victorian times, they put together the first civilized eclectic martial art. By eclectic, I mean it was a mixed martial art from the beginning of the 20th century. There was an English gentleman named Edward William Barton Wright. Apparently he was compensating. He had 4 names.
Sounds like you're just jealous.
I have more than jelly, really? Yeah. Yeah, nothing says gangster like a 5'4" white kid in Arkansas. Yeah. So, what else you got for me?
Nothing.
That was it. Okay. I refuse to lose the battle of wits to an unarmed opponent. This is why I married a blonde. Hi, sweetheart.
So, seriously, he's got 4 names, you've got 1?
I have more. Mycroft is just my first name.
Yeah?
Right, but it gets confusing after that. I think my full name is Mycroft Mortimer Mortensen.
Wow.
And my dad had a stuttering problem, okay? That's as close as my mom could figure it out. My little brother's named Mortensen. She said that joke would be funny.
She was wrong.
I thought it was.
Me too.
Wow, the one guy off his meds.
Hey, I never took my meds since high school.
So, yesterday.
No, 6 years ago.
So, he dropped out early. So,
No, I graduated
This
early.
isn't Texas.
it's Arkansas. It's easy to graduate when you're 14 because their curriculum only goes to 6th grade.
I'm 25.
Hi. Hoorah, exactly. You graduate at 14, join the military.
They wouldn't.
Or become governor and then president.
That's my plan.
That was Bill Clinton. He got all the chicks. That's my plan too.
They
Keep
never
working on
accepted
it.
me in the military.
I have 2.
Too crazy.
What?
You know what that means? I get ignored. They gang up on me.
Yep.
They have fun together and I sit on the couch alone. Sad.
We
So,
locked you in your closet. What are you kidding?
yeah, coming out of the closet means something different for me. Doesn't mean I'm out. It means I'm out. Run.
Yeah, that's why we didn't bring the dogs. Last time we brought the dogs in their kennel, we locked him in the kennel and took the dogs out to the convention.
She did. That picture is on Facebook. It's not as fun as you'd think. Our dogs hate being in that kennel, but it's wrong for me to be in the kennel, and our male tried to drag me out. When I got in the kennel, he tried to get in with me and push me out. That's my spot. So, the gentlemanly art of self-defense as put together by Edward William Barton. That's too long. When I trained with the guy, he never used Edward. We just used William, so I called him Billy. Well, his last name was Barton Wright, and the art he put together was called Baritsu, which was the beginning of his last name, so I called him Billy Barty. He hated that. He said it made him sound short. And that one failed. The crickets are silent.
Careful.
Nobody knows who Billy Barty was, do you?
Yeah, I did.
You're old enough.
I did. I'm old enough.
Yeah, I'm not going to hug you. It's just a...
Sorry.
Billy Barty was a midget performer.
A midget?
Yes, he was a dwarf. Billy Barty, for short. All right, fine, on with the beatings. I feel like the little guy with the one eye that was in Monsters, Inc. that tried all the funny jokes. And nobody laughed at his jokes, so he'd poke himself in the eye and then the kids would start laughing. I feel like that in my stage show. No matter what I say, nobody laughs. They're just waiting for her to hit me.
Mike Wazowski.
And bless your heart.
This mixed martial art of Mr. Billy Barty's.
Oh yeah, the little short guy had a mixed martial art. It had 4 stages, and all the world's a stage, so it had 4 stages. See, 4 stages, that works, because that's how many fingers I have.
Well, what about your thumb?
I use that to count with, duh. Like the Japanese do that too. You're at an anime con. You ever wonder, anybody in Japanese martial arts, you ever wonder why they always count in sequences of 4 and 8? It's because they use their thumb to count off numbers. Each ni san chi go.
So, one stage is makes one hand, but what about the other hand? What are you doing with that? Wait a minute, I don't want to know. Let's keep going.
Look, I'm holding my stick. It's a gangsta thing. You know it's not. You know gangsters will never be Victorian because they can't wear suspenders.
They'd get wedgies.
Somebody has never watched Clockwork Orange.
Did you say something, Scarlo? Okay, good. So, 4 stages for the gentlemanly art of self-defense. The first stage is long range. This is what the stick is for. This gentleman put together a science of defending yourself with the stick. Prepare to be amazed.
What is that?
What?
There's too many.
Nice. That pose looks like somebody put the stick somewhere only your proctologist will find.
Look, it may look funny, but this is actually a highly involved, complex science.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that.
Look, I'll do it without the poses if you want, okay?
That'd be better.
The way this works is you're supposed to put the free arm forwards because that draws your attention. Ooh. Mostly because of the bracelet. It says boobies on it. It does. It's for breast cancer awareness. And for any of you that are going to be offended, these bracelets have raised over $7 million for breast cancer research. When your charity does the same thing, you can come snipe at me for being cheesy and disgusting.
So this pose...
So the way it works is this. Look, you have a stick. What?
The way it works is you distract the person attacking you and make them laugh too hard to actually hit you?
No. That's what you do. Come here, I'll show you. All right, come here. See, this side forwards. You're slobbering. Look, we've been working on this since we got married, Swallow. Thank you! For the first time, do you see the expression? She's more red than Deadpool right now. Speaking of dead, after the show.
You may want to hire a bodyguard.
It's not what I thought she was volunteering to help with. So, here, bad guy steps forwards and strikes, and all you do is you step back and wham! Self-defense!
I thought you stuck the stick in their stomach.
Say that 5 times fast.
You're doing it wrong.
So why was the blonde's belly button bruised? No. Boyfriend was blonde too. And by the way, for those of you who are starting to get offended by our show, if your child understood that innuendo, you're bad parents. So,
All right.
this is a sign. I want you to watch. Because fighting with the cane broke into two categories defensively. If somebody attacked you, you could do one of two things. The first is called the parry. Parry is basically blocking. So when the bad guy attacks, you block. And see, yeah, I know, duh, so what, right?
Yeah.
But see, you add to this. You add to the parry, and you add the strip. Anybody want to see me strip? Great, just Deadpool. All right, fine. How many of you want to see me strip her?
What?
No, thank you.
Same guy. All right, please observe. Bad guy attacks you with a stick. Parry. Sweep. Strip.
What?
Strike.
This isn't fair.
Now I have two sticks. I know. What's a guy going to do with two? Never mind.
That's called yaoi, dear.
Great. So we're going to go home from this weekend, and you're going to be telling everybody I had two sticks in my hand. No wonder that convention keeps trying to hire just me. So, beyond the parry is the pass.
Oh, I'm familiar with that one. Guys try it all the time. You'd think for as often as they did, they'd be better at it, among other things.
You know, in all fairness, she is right. Girls, you remember elementary school, kindergarten? The boy that liked you would pull on your hair, or poke you with a pencil, or steal your books.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten a lot better. As we get older and older, our level of sophistication reaches college, where our big pickup line is, "Here, do you want this drink?" We're men. If we were sophisticated, we'd be French.
You'd smell better.
All right, allow me to demonstrate the pass.
Oh, yeah?
This time, instead of meeting force with force, you shift past it. The goal is to take the strike past where it was intended to go, and you can also add to it. Strike comes in, and you go this way. The pass. Incomplete. Happens in Arkansas all the time. That was a football joke, not a dating joke. I understand. Arkansas, dating? Yay! Family reunions are fun. I know, we're from Iowa. Our family tree doesn't fork either. The guy with the ears got that one. I resemble that remark. So we can add to it though. Remember the disarm we did before, the strip?
Yeah.
You can do that with the pass as well. Strike comes in, shift, in, take it away.
This
See?
doesn't seem fair.
I can fight.
Give me that.
What, you want to try the move?
Yeah, sure. Make a
Okay.
pass.
Last time she told me that, she hit me. Of course, it may have had something to do with the fact that I made a pass at her instead. They gave us a hotel room with one bed, which they share, and I sleep on the floor. Well, now. Okay, so this is how it works. I'm going to strike.
Okay.
You're going to pass this, okay? Got it?
Here, like this?
Yes. Okay, now, sweep it down, twist the wrist, and then, yeah.
What are you doing? You grabbed me.
I'm just trying to hold on to the stick, dear.
The stick isn't there, and the stick's never going to be there.
Someday it might be. No!
I think it's time to move on.
Yeah, this looks way too familiar. Like our dating life. So, no more sticks.
No.
All right, stage 2. Stage 1 is long range. That's for stick fighting. Stage 2 is fisticuffs.
Yay!
The sweet son. That guy did the same thing. See? Yeah.
Really? You're
Oh
right.
yeah.
You're right, men haven't evolved. You're still playing kindergarten games.
What do you mean?
I mean, stop hitting
No,
yourself.
stop it! Bully.
Well, you got your hands
You know, the
turned
problem is you just hate men.
No, it's just hard to find any real men.
Maybe she hasn't looked yet.
I don't think she looked yet either.
I'm a real man.
It is November. We just got done with all the political lies. This is how it's done. You saw that guy did the same thing.
Okay, fine. How does this magic fisticuffs thing work then?
Well, see, the way it works is if the bad guy attacks you, what we're always setting up over there is the whole audience cockeyed and they just look that way.
Yeah.
That's that one guy, and I'm not sure that's his real eye. We should stand here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the way it works. Bad guy goes to haul off. See, boxing, this isn't, we call it the sweet science, because it is a science. It's not just big ruffian just comes out and tries to pummel you and overwhelm you. There is skill involved in this. Bad guy throws a big haymaker and tries to hit you, and you go BAM! And you beat them to the punch. I like that phrase. That might actually catch on. Beating somebody to the punch. What?
What was that?
Look, it's called a jab. Bad guy throws a punch and you just go really fast. It's fast. It goes in, out with very little penetration, but it...
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's not what I meant. This is a short setup punch.
Okay.
So the bad guy attacks and you go pop! And that sets up the big one, the bomb. Called a cross, and this is the one that ends the fight. So you go bam, wham! Fight's over. We're closed. And that is the sweet science of boxing.
Oh, really? That's it? 2 punches?
Yeah? No, I mean, there's a lot more. You're not getting all of me.
Oh, dear God, I hope not.
That's not what they meant. They being the people who wrote our script. This was originally a much more G-rated cartoon than we've taken it.
All right,
Then you've taken it. You guys are disgusting. This is either the most dirty-minded group of people on the planet or we're an anime con.
You're anime con.
Let the clothing
people
fall.
always
I
have
mean,
the dirtiest minds.
hi, Brooke. There have been complaints already.
What are you doing, honey?
All right, so there's more to this than... Are you collecting more?
That was an example of the pass.
And
for the first time, I didn't end up flat on my face.
Wait for it.
And she's ignoring you.
See what happens, guys? They have their way with you, and then they just walk. Somebody's I just hate a woman that bites.
Then why do you keep Scarlet around?
Well, we could move on. Because, see, they didn't just throw the jab and the cross.
Okay.
The sweet science had more than that. Because sometimes bad guy would cover up. So if you have your hands in the way, none of that's working. Ah, help, it doesn't work. So they have another strike. Oh yeah, it goes around the hands. It's designed to hit him in the side of the head. They call it the hooker. It goes this way. It is too. The hooker. Now, okay, maybe it's not called the hooker. It's just called the hook. But every guy in here thought the same thing and giggled a little bit. It's called the hook. All right, maybe they call it the hooker because it catches a guy on the blind side and costs him more than he wanted to pay.
All right, Mr. Smart Alec. What do you do if somebody else punches at you?
Well, You should applaud. That's her only job in this show. Great. Scarlet, our bobblehead. Dad!
All right, time to punch you.
I just thought of something bad.
I probably did too.
So, if somebody's throwing this punch at you, you know, the hooker,
Hook.
the hook, I want you to watch this really cool move. Because we're fighting, we're ready. You throw the hook, and whoo-ha! Bam! Did you like that? Watch, do it again.
It was pretty cool.
Wah! Boom!
Does it have one of those, you know, really obvious names like ducking?
No, it's not called ducking because they'd all think I'm walking around going quack, quack, quack.
They already know you're a quack, dear.
As it just so happens, that move was named after the guy who invented it.
Yeah?
It's called the bob.
I like that name.
Thank you. That is what it's called.
The bob.
The bob.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Bad guy punches and you bob under it and come up and go BAM! Mwah. Back to the gut. Okay, if you throw straight punches instead, that jab and the cross, they have another move designed to get you out of the way that was actually invented by a woman.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, watch. Throw. Woo! See that?
Yeah?
Yeah. Invented by a woman. Her name was Eileen.
That was terrible.
That was terrible.
That was funny.
I enjoyed it though.
That's what he said New Year's Eve too. That was terrible, but I enjoyed it. Hi.
What are you doing on New Year's Eve?
Oh my God, that was you in the hot tub? So,
3 moves?
4!
4.
There's one more punch. It's called the uppercut.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, it's designed, it's close quarters. It's really, really vicious. And we're not going to let her demonstrate because this punch goes around and up. And every time I let her try it, she hits me in a bad place.
Around and up.
Yes, it's very, very powerful, but it's not very good from long distance because you can't reach very well.
Okay.
So it's kind of an infighting thing. You're aiming for the chin, okay? So when we're fighting, I'm covered up, and you throw the hooker at me and it doesn't work.
It's not a hooker!
They keep hoping she'll throw a hooker at me. I mean,
Hook?
assistant. I mean, you wonder how she got the job? So when they duck that hook, we'll use your term, ducking, okay? Now you throw the uppercut, and it smashes their head up, and then you can hit them again. Yeah. And now we're back to whack-a-mole. Great. See how that works? Exactly. See? It's very effective from in close. It's really hard to
How would you defend it?
Actually, that brings us to the next part of our show. Stage 1 was for long range. That was whacking people with a stick. Stage 2 was closer range, and that's the fisticuffs. That's punching and kicking people. Stage 3 is actually the guy's favorite part. This is the clinch. Grappling. Okay, and the way it works is when you go to throw that punch, if I can't jump back out of the way, when you throw that punch in close, I actually move into it like this
Like New Year's
and smother it. See how this works? It's also known as the hug. And actually, this move was developed by a Swiss group of martial artists. They trained in an art called Svingen, and the way it worked was when somebody would throw that punch in close, they'd actually smother the punch and grab them around the belt and yank upwards and try to throw them on the ground. Pretty cool, huh? Okay.
So you give them a hug and throw them to the ground.
Yeah, but you got to grab their belt first and pull up to help unbalance them.
Oh, so your big move is giving them a wedgie first.
You
Well,
hug?
now that you mention it, yeah. But look, you can mock grappling all you want, but this is an amazing skill.
Yeah?
Yeah, let me show you. Come here, you. Put those down. Put those down. here. Oh, let's take the hat off.
Amazing skill.
Oh yeah, I want you to watch. This is how it works. Grappling is about its joint locks. It's taking advantage of a person's natural tendencies and how their body moves and works to win a fight. So it works like this. See, by simply doing this, watch. Applied science. See how this works? The slightest bit of pressure and she's on her knees in front of a man.
Yes,
Maybe we'll let you go back to your corner now. Stop, go back.
I got him.
And this is how this is actually helpful. Don't, that's okay, come back. I want you to watch, you guys. Okay, watch. Bad guy grabs you around the waist. Now, you hold in close, you lean, kind of put your body into it. Oh yeah. No biting. Grappling. To break the grip, thumb, push, down on their hand, grab onto their wrist. This comes around, keep their elbow nice and tight. Come here, turn. Ah! Wah! The key lock, if you're into mixed martial arts from that contemporary 21st century thing, this is called the Kimura. Done standing up, you can drive the knee into the ribs. And drive the knee. Oh, we're not going to do that part. Hi, sweetheart. I love you on your hands and see. So you see how that could actually work? This would work for the boxing thing too.
Yeah.
See, the way it happened was they had stand-up moves. So this one's called the triangle choke. I know it says triangle, but there is no geometry involved.
That's probably a good thing.
I'm bad at math. I like figures, I'm just bad at math.
Really?
He likes that. He's still laughing.
Look, you laugh at that lame joke and he's going to be obligated to tell it for another 6 months.
It's okay, I'm a bad comedian too.
Have you ever tried using props in your skits?
Look, you can use props in your dating life. Let me use props.
I do.
So, bad guy, but look, when we were talking about prop, I know you saw him and you thought the obvious. His date would be the prop. Inflatable. You know the thing? We're from Iowa, which means we have to put up with all the sheep and the goat jokes everywhere. My wife is from a redneck town, redneck enough that for her little brother's 18th birthday, we bought him an inflatable sheep. It is only the second time I've ever been in one of those stores before, and I never ever want to go back because it was anatomically correct and motion activated. It would go back when you got close to its rear end. So we bought that sheep thinking it would be the funniest thing ever and her brother would be embarrassed. We gave it to him and he unwrapped it and went, "This is awesome!" Blew it up, put it in the back of his truck and took it to school with him. The rest of the defensive line on his football team took turns taking it to school in their car, and one of them took the sheep to prom. And while you're going, "Ah, that's not really that funny, you overstretched on that one," I didn't make this part up. You know, if you were at prom, we're an anime con. I mean, for the kids who had dates and went to prom and not just worked it, the photography booth, everybody there and you get your picture taken with your girlfriend, this guy got his picture taken with the sheep.
My date was a toaster.
And it's on
Ouch.
A word of warning, don't plug it into the outlet before you use it. So, that punch, standing up, the triangle choke, it works like this. The bad guy punches, and you're going to pass it, and then this hand kind of slides in and goes right up the chest. Ooh. Okay, maybe we should trade jobs on this. I'll explain it. That's just not that kind of show. Okay, so I'm going to punch. You're going to pass it, and this hand comes right up the chest. You're going to put your thumb on the outside of my throat.
But I can't see. We can't see.
I did try to, did you notice me try to change spots?
No, it's
And my
okay.
wife
You
wouldn't
like
put
this
up
one.
with it?
Oh.
I'm not the
What
boss.
he's doing is then,
All I can say is, to any other married man in the audience, I've seen the boss's job, and I don't want it. So, pass, slides in, the other hand comes up the back, and clasps And now from right here, all you do is hug me. That, not like that. You actually pull it in against the shoulder, so you collapse her arm, you cut off the rear, like that, yep, and then if you want to, down. All right.
Are you done talking yet?
Yes. That's not what she said. Why are we putting up with this abuse? I don't want to put up with this abuse anymore. This was not in the contract.
Yes, it was.
I didn't sign on for abuse.
Yes, you did. You married me.
It was not in my vows anywhere. I remember them really well, especially I remember the love part. I actually kind of like that. And I remember the honor part because that's kind of how we get to the love. I'm not worthy. And I remember the last one because you made me say it twice. You know, obey.
So obey, get on with the show.
All right, fine. Stage 1, long range, the cane. Stage 2, fisticuffs. Stage 3 was grappling. Stage 4 is actually the really cool one. Stage 4 for Baritsu practitioners was the element of surprise. This is when you take a completely unknown strategy and whip it out.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's kind of where my mind went too, but what they were actually talking about was introducing another weapon. Because we have these, the hat's gone, it's time to do something else surprising. Baritsu actually made use of throwing the hat. It was like the Englishman's version of the boomerang. It didn't work very well. It didn't, there was a James Bond movie though, the guy had the hat that was razor edge and he threw it and broke.
And it's also from more.
Oh, see, there's nerds out there that know exactly what I'm talking about. You have no life either.
All right, so the element of surprise.
Yes, so when the bad guy's menacing and ready to attack, you whip up it. Just a second.
Troubles? You need some help?
No!
Seriously, I can help you with that.
I've gotten used to doing this by myself. That's not what I meant. Aha!
Wow, after all that fuss, I thought that'd be bigger.
Very funny. The knife.
Yeah. Oh, what? You think you're actually a threat with that?
Yes?
Not a very big threat.
Hey! All right, fine. But remember, you asked for this thrust. Hey!
Yeah! Gentlemanly arts of defense. I think Mycroft might have finally learned what we've known all along. Anything a man can do, we can do better.
You suck. And not in a good way.
Yay!
Oh my God,
Bet you've never seen one of these before.
no! No, actually, I have not.
Good answer. That'll make your mom proud.
Mycroft,
Yes?
take a bow.
Oh, you're not going to kick me, are you?
Dang it!